Hello, I'm Jerry Owsley, and welcome to today's edition of Spirit Bread. Today I'd like to talk to you about backing up. Every automobile accident I have ever had, except for one, which was by far the worst one, has been in reverse. I had two in my very first car. I hadn't gotten the car licensed yet, and a couple of my friends had come over. I wanted them to take a ride in my car. However, without insurance or a license plate, about the only place I could go was to back down the long driveway and then drive back up. While making the reverse trip, I backed into a telephone pole. It wasn't serious, but I began my driving career with a dent in my back bumper. A few months later, I had gone to the store for Mom. This was an old car, and it was in the dead of winter. Consequently, the back window had fogged up, and I couldn't see through it. As I came from the store, I failed to observe a car that had parked almost on my dented bumper. I had to put the car in reverse in order to pull out, and when I did, wham! I slammed into the vehicle behind me. I hadn't even killed the engine in my manual transmission clunker, so I didn't think there had been much damage. I looked at the car behind me with my chin touching my toes, because the little vehicle behind me had the hood almost buckled in two. There was barely some rubbed off paint on my bumper. That was number two. Number three happened a couple of years later. I had now graduated to a 1969 Chevy Malibu. It was still an older vehicle, and it's funny how those older cars endured so much. Now, I know the studies show how much safer newer vehicles are, but I can't help but wonder, when you hit one with an old car and they crunch up like tin foil, how that it hardly makes a scratch on the older vehicle. I can't explain that, but I do have my opinion. Anyway, I was driving my grandmother and one of her friends home from church. It was dark, and remember, this was an older vehicle, so there weren't any backup lights. Needless to say, I backed into the side fender of the vehicle parked very close beside me. Thank God for insurance, at least at times like that. I have found that accidents in reverse are not limited to automobiles. How often have I backed into someone in a crowd? Even though I'd be quick to excuse myself, it's brought many a scowling face in my direction. I've also found that many of my shortcomings with God have happened when my life was in reverse. We all put life in reverse sometimes, don't we? We get angry and react in a way that we know isn't like Christ. We don't want to, but it just seems the old man jumps out of the grave and once again inhabits our Christian bodies, and we just take a seat and let him have his way. It's wrong, and we shouldn't allow it. We know what the old guy looks like and is capable of, yet we somehow just fade back and let him go. It's wrong. The Lord isn't pleased with it. And when all is said and done, we truly regret what happened. But now we can't undo what we did. We apologize and say our sorries, but still the scar's been made. It's kind of like in a court of law when something has been said that is considered unusable and inapplicable to the case and is ordered to be stricken from the record. Well, it's been taken out of writing, and the jury is ordered not to consider it, but still, it's been laid out for all to hear, and I can't help but believe that it sticks in the back of minds. The devil is quick to remind us of those times in our lives. Even though we have asked forgiveness from the person we did wrong and we've repented to the Lord for the things, that old devil just keeps bringing it up, if not in our minds, in the minds of others. That's when we need more than the forgiveness of God. We need His grace and mercy. He's that kind of God. He does throw those old things out, and regardless whether others choose to remember it or how often the devil brings it up, His grace and mercy covers it. We may carry the spiritual scar and perhaps a physical scar for a long time to come, but even a scar can be used as a positive reminder of how the Lord changes lives, even when life is in reverse. Well, that's all for now. Thanks for joining us. We invite you to find out more by visiting our website at www.spiritbread.com. You're also welcome to email us at jousLey@spiritbread.com. Take God with you wherever you go and in whatever you do, and have a wonderful day. Join us next time for another edition of Spirit Room.